All right, so welcome to the third video for this week on our training on release and empowerment techniques. And today, in this video, we're going to be talking about some steps to keep you on the path to reaching your goals with managing your emotions and the other goals that you set in your life.
Definitely. We know that at this point, you've been practicing some things. You've been learning new things and learning how the brain works. But we also know that we get to a point where when we're learning something new that we kind of receive some pushback, that it gets harder to be consistent with what we're doing because we're making new changes. That our brain is saying, we don't want to do this. This is hard. We want to go back to the way things were because it's easy. We know what to expect from that. We know what to expect from our past decisions. But when we're making new decisions and we're learning new things, that sometimes we have to get past roadblocks in the way. So we've taught you about the let go techniques to help get out that junk.
Which is really, we talked about the pain, right?
Yeah.
We talked about things that are like, I'm okay with that life that I used to live, but it just didn't fulfill me that much.
Yeah.
And then there's pain there. Okay. And then second video was we talked about what you want, like powering you up and talking about ways to do that. So empowerment techniques. Yeah. And then today we're going to give you 5 steps to keep you on this path and to increase your awareness of what you want to look out for with an exercise. So step number one to be aware of, stop complaining.
Yeah, complaining is a big one because we're using our words and even our body language to say we are unhappy with how things are. We're unhappy with maybe a certain situation or a person. But when we say those things over and over again, it kind of gets ingrained in us and we believe that that's the way it is, that it can't change. So stop the complaining because actually no one wants to hear complaining. Like we all have hard things that we're going through, but let's come up with a solution so that things can really change.
Well, and the complaining is going to stop you from reaching your goal because you're going to be telling yourself, this is too hard. You know, I can't do this, which obviously that's not going to serve you or others.
Yeah.
All right. Number 2 is to declare your why. And this is something we really need to remember when it comes to going for goals and taking care of ourselves is we do kind of have to have that conversation with ourselves at times and say, this is why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
But to declare it, use your voice, say it out loud, just to reaffirm that I'm committed and I'm going to take action because I want these outcomes for my life.
Definitely. Well, and it just reaffirms to your brain, okay, why am I doing this? Why is it even important to me? Because if it's not important, I don't need to be putting in all this effort. So you figure out, why am I doing it? Maybe write it in a journal, say it out loud, but figure out why so you can connect with it on a deeper level.
Now, the next one, you have a worksheet for this one. And you'll notice in the worksheets that there's an exercise that we have there. But step number 3 is to list out your pains, your sabotages, and your wants. And you'll see the breakdown on the worksheet. But basically, you're going to list down the things in life that have brought you pain. Like frustrated,
relationships
depressed,
that you're unhappy with,
anxiety, relationship stuff.
Anything of your pains.
Yeah,
anything you want to change.
Anything.
Yeah.
And then you're going to list those on that column that says pain. And then you're actually going to go to the right side of the handout under the want and list what you want out of your life. Okay. Now, once you can see the 2 sides of the spectrum here, like where you feel like you've been and where you don't want to be and where you want to be, then you're going to start to think, okay, what are the behaviors or what are the thoughts that begin to happen for me that lead me back down to the pain?
That's the sabotage column. Yeah. So the things that, you start to do or roadblocks that you start to put in your own way that will enable you to go back to the pain. We don't want to go back to the pain. Like we've been there long enough, right? So some of the things that sabotage, and we'll give you some examples. For me, when I start binge watching TV, that's a signal to me, I'm starting to sabotage myself because I'm either scared to go after a goal or, I don't want to do something. It's kind of showing me What are some of the things that you put in your way that you start to do that will sabotage you if you let it?
Yeah, for me, it's fatigue. Fatigue is my thing I got to watch for, because in my mind, it's like, well, if you don't know how to do something, let's just be tired because we don't know how to do it.
And
so,
you don't take action and get to your wants.
I know when fatigue comes up, like that's one of my sabotages that takes me back to the pain, thinking, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't know if I really want those things in my life. I'll just go back to where I knew what to expect, even though there was a lot of pain there. Yeah. But obviously, if I have that awareness and I know that when I start to feel tired, then I need to like put my chin up and smile and my shoulders back and just kind of like, hey, you know,
self-care.
You can do this, right?
Yeah.
So the empowerment stuff that we taught you.
Yeah.
It
So
really
we want
helps
you
to stay focused.
It does help to stay focused. So it's going to be important for you to go through this process, get out your worksheet and go write down those pains. And then you write down what you want. How do you want things to change? And then the middle column to write down the sabotage. Because there will come a point where your brain's like, we're doing a lot of new stuff. I kind of just want to go back to the way it was. And if you've already declared your why and you've already said, no, this is really what I want to go after, then you'll recognize those sabotage things that come up so that you can push past them.
And keep moving forward to what you want, because you know that's what you want.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've covered 3. We've covered number 1. Well, number 2 was declare your why. Number
Stop
1
complaining.
was stop complaining.
Yeah.
Declare your why. The pain, sabotage, and want list. Number 4 is to, what was number 4?
We're on to it, and it's going to be forgive. So last week we talked about forgiveness.
Forgive me for not remembering that.
So, you know, getting in a better spot, whether that's forgiving yourself for things or forgiving others, you know, get in a better spot emotionally to be able to move forward. Because if you're harboring all of those negative feelings and you're not letting them go, then forgiveness is there for you to help move forward.
Right. So we talked about that last video, right? Where you got to release that kind of stuff. And forgiveness is a big part of that, because you may say, I'm sorry, but then you keep thinking about it, then you haven't forgiven.
Yeah.
So this is a big step that we need to practice more. And then the last one, number 5, is to take action. Yeah. The only way for you to learn and to get the experience that you need to keep going for your wants is you got to feel what it's like to live on the want side. Yeah. So you got to be able to have some experiences that tell you this is worth like managing the pain and managing the sabotage and keeping focused because I want to feel this way. And so take action is the 5th step.
Definitely. And so as we wrap up this week, go back and look at the things that you need to let go and ways that you can then empower yourself and lift yourself up so that you can go after those goals. Because if we always let our emotions kind of run the show, so to speak, then they're going to prevent us from taking action. And that's what gets us to our goal. That's what helps change things, change who we are, is taking action. So
recognize that you have emotions. You're going to have emotions that upset you, frustrate you, depress you, make you anxious. We've taught you in this week how to manage that, how to let go, how to release it. We've taught you some different ways that you can power yourself up when you're motivated and ready to take action, go for your goals. And then on this video, we've covered some steps for you to just kind of really dial in on how to be successful in going for your goals. So keep going for it, and we'll see you guys next week for the next series.